my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will, but what a thrill. Goodness and gracious, great balls of fire. I let the double ball, I thought it was funny. You came along and moved me, honey.
Tickle the twines there, Seminole Bob.
Love is fine. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Kiss me, baby. Ooh, it feels good. Hold me, baby. I want to love you.
Welcome to the Buffalo Wild Wing Coaches Show, Week 2. Last week was the first one, so this must part 2.
Part 2, yes.
There we go. Irish Bill is Seminole Bob sitting next to me. I'm not sure who our guest. I'm sure we'll have Paul on here sometime throughout the show. Last week we had 45 minutes with Coach Walls, the head coach at Navarre, and I did the first segment, and then Bob, you hogged the microphone for the next half hour.
I did not. I was looking for the exit button, and now I know where it's at.
No, to be honest with you, Bob, it's not too often I get to take a break during the show.
Yeah.
So that was really cool that I got to sit over here and talk with everybody. Coach Wall's wife is over here this evening, along with Paul and Cynthia Villanova, and their son is Vinny Villanova. The reason I'm saying that right now, because the numerous times that I said it last Friday night in a game against Catholic, I messed it up quite a bit. Off and on, I'd call him Valentino. or Villy. But I think we got it now. It's Vinny Villanova.
Villanova, like the college.
Yeah. But we got another great show tonight. We actually have a game to break down now, a regular season game. So we'll talk about that. We gave you our schedule for this week, our high school and college schedule for this upcoming week. But one thing we're doing different, last year we would pick the games during our Culver show. But what we're going to do is we're going to give you the broadcast, not the broadcast, but the schedule. And then on Wednesday night, we're going to actually pick the games. Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
So we're gonna pick the games, and we'll let you know who our players of the week were last week. A lot of great games last week, and I'm sure there are quite a couple surprises last week, and we'll talk about those coming up. And college football getting into full swing this week, starting with your team tomorrow night. No, actually, you're Sunday night, right?
Sunday night.
Oh, I forgot. I thought you were a Florida fan. I did that on purpose.
Yes, I'm actually going to try to watch part of that game. And my brother-in-law is camping out down in Santa Rosa Beach area. And we're going to find a place, watch Florida at Utah.
Should be an interesting and entertaining game.
I just saw that Utah's quarterback's probably going to be out.
Ooh,
so
that kind of changes things up a little bit.
It does. Florida will be without Anthony Richardson, who was picked first in the first round by the Colts.
A lot of Florida fans say that's not a big loss, but then again, they brought in Grant Mertz. So I think right now they would rather have Anthony Richardson back under center.
I mean, Kyle Trask is in the NFL battling for a starting job. Sometimes
with the journeyman Baker Mayfield.
Yes, they're battling it out for the starting quarterback position to replace one Tom Brady. I think you've heard of that guy.
Yeah, just a little bit. Seeing them way too many commercials. Come on, let's move on. There's other quarterbacks that need some airtime and commercials.
He needs some money now.
Really? Excuse me.
But
you choked me up there a little bit, Bob.
Well, in New England, he always took pay cuts. Pay cuts.
But he's got he's got his own clothing line, though. He's making tons of money.
Yeah.
He's not hurt.
I guess.
And he doesn't have to – I don't think he has to pay alimony because I think she was making more than he was.
I don't know how that worked, but –
But, well, anyways, we got another great show tonight. A lot of high school games coming up. A lot of college – a full slate of college football games coming up this week. And then we'll talk about the game coming up. We got a game on Friday, don't we?
We do.
So we got Pine Forest hosting our Navarre Raiders Friday night at you know the name of the stadium, right?
Lon Wise Stadium.
That's correct. And we'll be inside because there's a slight about 40% chance of rain on Friday, so don't want to damage the equipment. So we're gonna take it easy and go inside a little bit.
We're not going to hold any umbrellas?
No umbrellas this time. In fact, I am leaving mine in the trunk of my car.
Yep.
But so we've got a lot to talk about. So let's dig right into it. Let's break down this game from last Friday night. Still waiting on some defensive stats, but we could talk about everything that happened from the minute it kicked off to the end of the game in overtime. Raiders unfortunately fell 34-27 in overtime. They fought back after a 13-10 halftime lead and a 20-10 mid-third quarter deficit. The score 14 in a row to take their first lead of the second half. Catholic would regain that a couple minutes into the fourth. And the Raiders would come back and kick. We'll talk about that in just a second, the length of the field goal. They got to overtime. But let's go first scoring play. Not much offense in the first two possessions by either team.
Yeah.
So the Raiders would score first on a 71-yard fumble return by Connor Black. Tyler Daniel, what a night he had. He would add the extra point. So the Raiders' first touchdown of the season was of the defensive variety. Catholic would tie it at 9:28 of the second. Actually, not tie it because, they did. They missed a second kick. So a 37-yard run by C.J. Nettles, another big night for C.J.
Mm-hmm.
Pierce Hobson kick, and we're tied at 7. At 1:14, a 5-yard run by Nigel Nelson. Good 1-2 punch for the Crusaders in the backfield.
Man.
So when Nettles goes out, they don't lose much with bringing in Nigel Nelson. And Nelson got in from 5 yards out at 1:14. Kick was no good. 13-7, Catholic on top. The Raiders would get on the board with 23 seconds left. The 33-yard field goal for Tyler Daniel. So we go to the half, 13-10. Nettles would score at the 9:02 mark of the third, a 1-yard scamper. Hobson's kick good, and a 20-10 Catholic lead. 5:29 mark, a 1-yard run by Connor Matthews, his first of 2 on the night. Daniel's kick good, 20-17. At the end of the third quarter, 3 scores by the Raiders in the last minute of the second, third, and fourth quarters. So this one, a 43-yard run by Matthews with 50.5 seconds left. Daniel's kick was good, and the Raiders had themselves a 24-20 lead heading to the fourth. Here goes Nettles again at the 9:54 mark. In fact, all 3 of theirs in the 9-minute range, as I just looked at. Kind of a oddity there. A 56-yard run by Nettles. Hobson's kick was good, and Catholic back on top 27-24. They would alternate a couple of possessions, and the Raiders would get the ball back. They'd drive down. They got a critical pass interference play. Actually, they turned that into a holding call.
Right.
So a game first and 10 at the Catholic 25-yard line. No yardage gained, so they would send out Tyler Daniel for the game-tying kick from 42 yards out, and he would drill it to send it to overtime. But unfortunately, the only points in the overtime would come from Catholic, and they would go on to win 34-27.
Yeah, great effort in the second half by Navarre. There's a few things, obviously, they need to clean up before the Pine Forest game. You know, there's old saying in football and really all sports, between your first and your second game, you should be the most improvement. You should show the most improvement. We'll see I mean, many times we had the Catholic backs stopped in the backfield and just could not. They were so elusive. We could not wrap up, and that hurt Navarre because it's they just didn't, on first contact, fall down.
A lot of credit to the offensive line of Catholic and the two shifty, twisty running backs, as I call them. What a great night they had. 296 yards rushing on the night for Catholic, 171 for Navarre. Not much passing going on in this contest. There were attempts. Hunter Feaster, 10 of 18, but only for 54 yards. Ryan Huff, 4 of 9 for 52 yards. But the big pass came in overtime, 1 of 1 for Nigel Nelson, a 10-yarder to Jacob Chambers for the winning score. Navarre's rushing, Connor Matthews, nice night. His first start in his junior season, 19 carries, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Hunter Feaster pitched in 7 carries for 45. Catholic C.J. Nettles, 26 for 215 yards, 3 touchdowns. Nigel Nelson, 11 carries for 88 yards and 3 scores. The receiving core led by Darius Cunningham's 5 receptions for 22 yards. He's coming into his own from the kickoff classic now to his first regular season game.
Yeah, learning defenses, finding the holes in the zone, basically sitting down, using his big body to shield defenders. They went deep a couple times. One drew the holding penalty. And I'm going to ask Coach Walls about his opinion. You know, in college, if not definitely pros, it's a spot foul. And I've always thought that really benefits the defense.
It really does. I mean, especially when you have the whole field to go. If you throw, you can just continue to hold and pass, give them first downs because their enemy is the clock, their friend is the clock.
Right.
So the clock keeps running even after they stop it for the penalty. But from here to there. But so hopefully we will see number 1 back in the lineup on Friday night, Terrence Marshall.
Yes.
A chance to break some records here for Terrence in his senior year. But his brother Tyrell had a nice game last week as well.
Yep, most certainly did. I think one of the big plays on a punt attempt, the ball kind of bounced back to him, and it was not the regular long snapper, Vinny Villanova. It was a backup, and the ball kind of bounced. Tyrell did a great job getting it off before the rush came on. So hats off to Tyrell for that.
Like I said, not much as far as in the receiving yards for Catholic, 5 for 62 yards, led by Javion Showers, 3 for 30. Navarre special teams, what a night for Tyler Daniel. He was our special teams player of the week this week in the Panhandle.
And he's up for the Pensacola News-Journal
as well.
Player of the week.
3 for 3 extra points, 2 for 2 field goals, 33 yards, and the big one to tie it, to send it to overtime. Pierce Hobson went 4 of 5 for Catholic. We're going to skirt on out for our first commercial break. We come back, I'm going to let you sit and talk with Coach Walls.
I'll do it.
This Irish Bills twist. Actually, no, I got to remember that. This is the Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. Seminole Bob, Irish Bill. We're going to head out for our first commercial break, and we'll be back with Bob and Coach Jay Walls.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Thinking about selling your property? Call Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Realty in Navarre now.
The consultation is free, and Ursula uses the best tools the industry has to offer. Her years as a top producer, relocation specialist, and Florida military market specialist will help you get the desired result. If you are buying, Ursula's experience will help you make an informed decision to find the right home for you. And if you mention this advertisement, Ursula will donate $100 to the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club when the deal closes. To find out if you qualify for any of the military rewards, call or text 850-642-5711 or email ursula.householder@cbrealty.com or go to urhouseholderhomes.com. That's urhouseholderhomes.com. Go Raiders!
Not as much rain as our brothers and sisters down in the Big Bend area, where Coach Walls and I had spent some years in Tallahassee town. They got some weather.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
Coach Walls, good to have you.
Good to see you, Bob.
We play Pine Forest this week. Take us what it's an away game. Tell our listeners and me, what is an away day like from the moment you and the kids arrive at school till game time? What's it like?
Well, our game day routine, we have a team breakfast before school on our school campus. And then we also watch film with our JV guys from the game from the Thursday night before. Yeah. And then, the kids are in school with a game at 7 o'clock in Pensacola. We're probably going to get over there around 5:15, 5:30, so we'll leave, around 4:15, 4:30. We'll have our pregame meal. We're going to play at 7, so we always try to eat about 4 hours before kickoff. And it's not a big meal. It's just so our guys aren't hungry come game time.
Right.
But, that's kind of our routine. Being kind of close, we'll dress and tape at home. And then, we'll travel over and like I said, get there around 5:15, 5:30, and then we'll start warming up at 6.
Do you have the offense on one bus and the defense on another? Or no?
Well, what we'll do is we'll put our starters on the first bus, our backups, our twos on the second bus, and then threes and managers and injured folks on the third bus.
Okay, absolutely. Yep. Tough loss last week. Had a great comeback in the second half against Catholic.
Yeah.
And get the field goal, which is awesome. Send it to overtime. Catholic scores first. Navarre gets the ball. We turn it over. What did you say to Connor after the game? Or did you need to say anything to him?
Well, really didn't need to say anything to him. He on that play was playing hard, running hard, and just a situation where, he's trying to fight for yards, and, they were able to strip the ball. But Connor had a really good night running the football.
Oh, he did, yeah.
To start the game, offensively, we were not having any success, not running the ball, not throwing the ball. We had a turnover early, and it was just lack of execution on our part. So luckily our defense kept us in the game.
Sure did.
And played great early on, came up with big plays. Josh Wilson had a big play, a sack, caused fumble, recovery. Then we had a scoop and score by Connor Black. And so defensively, we had the momentum. Offensively, it was kind of slow going, but we finally got it going. Our O-line was doing a better job blocking. Connor Matthews did a great job running the football.
He did.
Later in the game, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Anyway, I was proud of our guys as far as their effort. I was proud of our guys, the way they competed. We came up with some big plays on defense, on offense. You know, and we were, you know, we improved in the kicking game as the game went on. But when we, you know, went back and looked at the film, we just didn't play and execute as well as we need to. And when we talked to the guys about that after the game, after looking at the film, it was confirmed that we got to do a better job offensively blocking. Got to do a better job with our execution, running routes, you know, quarterback reads, you know, just, you know, everybody. Defensively, we did not tackle well. We did at times, but we were pretty inconsistent. Our fits weren't good. You know, you got to be gap sound. Everybody has gap responsibility. They have, you know, leverage where they're supposed to fit. We didn't do a good job with that, and that's part of execution on what's called the scheme, you know, our scheme on that play. And then in the kicking game, there were some phases where, you know, we gave up a big return, and it was really on kickoff where we didn't execute well. And again, it goes back to how you practice. And that said, that's on me, that's on the other coaches, that's on the players, it's on everybody. Right. So I like the way that our guys have responded.
Good.
And have worked hard this week. So, you know, I'm excited about, you know, what we did, though, you know, Friday night. You know, we went into overtime, came back and tied the ball game up, had a big kick by Tyler Daniel. And, you know, like I said, a lot of really good plays. We competed like crazy. You know, we just played competed our butts off. But, you know, we got to practice our butts off, too. But the guys did a better job with that. So I don't know if I answered your question or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, we did stretch the field or tried to stretch the field some, throwing the ball.
Yeah.
And Cunningham, I for really his first or second true varsity game live action, he's kind of finding his own. Seemed like he was sitting down in the zone a little bit, using his big body to shield. At least on one occasion, while they were penalized for holding on a long pass. Mm-hmm. Talk about that rule. That was the end result. Friday night was 10 yards from the previous spot. College, if not definitely the pros, have a spot foul. Do you think high school needs to go to a spot foul on something like that? Because to me, it kind of gives the advantage to the defense.
Well, you know, I think the way that it's pass interference, the way that it's assessed is fine. You know, this isn't pro ball. This is high school ball. And you know, if that was the case, then I think a lot of folks would just be throwing the ball up all the time trying to get pass interference, you know, just to move it down the field further. And sometimes you're trying to do that, you know, to get something, you know, to occur in a positive way, you know, to stretch somebody deep, and maybe you will get a pass interference call. But you know, the way the rule is assessed, I think it's fine. You know, and in that situation where Darius was running a post route, the cornerback grabbed and held him. It was defensive holding. And, you know, luckily the officials saw it and called it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking, nice segue, penalties, pretty clean for Navarre. Not too many penalties on the night.
Yeah, you know, we had one penalty on offense that I recall that killed a long run. You know, we ran an outside zone play.
That's right, yep.
And we had too many men in the backfield. We didn't line up properly. And you know, that's frustrating because it wasn't a crazy formation or something that we drew up in the dirt. It's a base formation that we line up in all the time. And you know, that's a situation where and we talked to our guys about playing good football, and part of good offensive football is, you know, don't have any penalties that destroy a big play. Something like, you know, that we did. We lined up wrong. We shot ourselves in the foot.
Right.
So you can't have those kind of penalties. It's not a judgment call. We lined up wrong. We did it to ourselves. So you know, those kind of penalties do hurt.
What did Catholic do on defense that early on that stymied you?
Well, you know, I think that number one, they're a very good defense. They're the best defense we've faced so far. They were better than West Florida Tech. And so certainly better than Gulf Breeze that we faced in the spring.
Right.
Their D-line and their linebackers are very good, very good. If you notice, they were pretty big and they could move. I think that's the strength of their team is their defensive front. They're athletic in the secondary. So, I just think that our guys had to adjust to the physicality, the speed of the game, playing against a good defense. And our kids did that. You could see at first we were not winning the line of scrimmage.
Right.
We were struggling. But our O-line, I think that's one of our strengths, that they kept playing, everybody kept playing and competing. And finally we started getting some momentum and had some success running the ball and throwing the football.
Yep. Tell us about the new player that came in. He got a lot of defensive reps, defensive lineman.
Yeah. Tristan Ferreira.
Yep.
Moved in, a couple weeks ago. And anyway, he's played D-line before and O-line. And of course, we knew that we needed some help on the D-line. So, it was good that he did show up, that he did transfer, over to us. He's from Alberta, Alabama, I believe. And anyway, he came in. He's a rising senior. He's played a bunch of football, I think, growing up. So immediately, I think, he was good enough to help us and get on the field.
I know you welcomed his size.
Yeah, I think he's 6'2", 230.
Yeah.
That's pretty good size. As long as he plays with some quickness and physicality. But it looks like he's got that ability.
Absolutely. And lastly, the play of Hunter Feaster. He made – everybody's going to make mistakes. I thought as the game went on, he made some smart plays, and there was a lot of maturity especially from last year.
Oh, no doubt that he's got confidence. He's making some really good decisions. He made some good throws. He didn't play a perfect game. Early on we threw a flare screen to our running back, and we cannot throw that ball backwards because it's a live ball.
Right,
then.
yeah.
And he threw it backwards, and, that's the first thing, I told him when he came off the field, look, day one, 3-step drop, it's got to be a forward pass. But it wasn't, he threw the ball poorly. The running back ran a poor route. Our blocking was not very good on the perimeter. So there were a lot of things happening. Of course, everybody sees the throw,
right.
So it's all on the quarterback. And, yeah, it's a main part of it. But it was a team effort in the lack of execution on that play.
Right.
But, other than that play, he made some really good throws. He made some good runs, made some good decisions. He had a situation in the drive that set up the field goal where he scrambled instead of throwing the ball up, scrambled and got a first down, got us down there closer. I thought that was a great decision.
Yeah,
so,
I mentioned that on the air. I thought that was a smart play.
Yep.
He saw things breaking down, and he took off. There was another play where he and Connor were not on the same page. He didn't panic, went and made some positive yardage. So, lots of growth from him. I'm Bob Grant. That's Coach Walls, head football coach, and he's been here a while, and we're glad he is. We've got a big contest Friday night in Pensacola. Bill's going to talk some more about that when we come back from Buffalo Wild Wings here in Navarre.
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Tough to run against Mike Bennett's team.
Yeah, they do a good job.
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raiders Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track, whether it's seeing to it that they're properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can watch and hear all exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
Welcome back to Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. We have a new advertiser this week and for the 2023 season. All Dry Services, a Gulf Coast region. Ronnie Good is their manager with nearly a decade of experience with our expert restoration specialists. If you're in the Gulf Coast region, including areas Florida, Alabama, and Mississippi, you can rely on us for help with water damage or mold growth. Our emergency water damage and mold repair services are available 24/7, 365, so you don't have to worry about water damage or mold. We are committed to providing our customers with a wide range of water damage restoration services whenever there is a water problem. When you are going through a crisis like this, you should know that you are not alone in this situation. When your property is damaged, you can experience a lot of stress and discomfort. We recommend that you contact one of our Gulf Coast region restoration specialists as soon as possible to get a start on the restoration process at www.myalldry.com, Gulf Coast region. New sponsors, always good to have new sponsors, yeah. Coach.
Yep.
I've had quite a few of them, Culver's for over 7 years now. Ursula Householder and University Lending Group, I think we're coming up on about 10 years with them. Yeah. And it's always great to have those that you can count on to come back every year. I'm not sure what you two individuals talked about while I was taking a siesta over here, but we're going to go ahead and let's talk a little bit more about the game this past Friday night. The offense got off to a kind of a rough start in the first half, 34 yards of offense.
Yep.
But going to halftime, what did you talk about with the players getting ready for that second half? Because whatever you said, they were ready to play in the second half.
Well, that first half was rough on our offense, but our defense played great and kept it where, I believe it was a one-possession game. And so, at that point, it's always anybody's ball game. Anything can happen. And we talked to them about that. The first half, as bad as we played offensively, our defense did a great job. The second half, we go out and play and compete. We win the ball game. And so we talked to them about that. We sat down as coaches and looked at some adjustments we needed to make, to get some things going offensively. Coach Gannis, our offensive line coach, we sat down and looked at what we needed to do to handle their front and made those adjustments, and it was very good. The kids responded. I was telling Bob, that the way we competed the entire game, I was really proud of. The big plays I was really proud of, and I think our kids played hard. We just got to play better offensively, better defensively, better in the kicking game.
And you are going to face another tough rushing opponent this week. But the first half, the offensive line, I call the Big Bubbas affectionately,
sure.
and they love it.
Yep.
They just were having a little bit of a slow start, first regular season game. But I tell you, that second half, Bob and I were talking it throughout our broadcasting in the second half, is like they were finding the person that in front of them that they did not miss too many assignments in the second half.
Yeah, we executed much better. Catholic's defense, you got to give them some credit. Their defensive line, their linebackers are pretty dang good. I think they're going to be one of the better defenses in the area on any level. And we knew that coming in. We could tell in their scrimmage game, that they were pretty good defensively. And I think that our guys had to adjust. I mentioned to Bob, the speed of the game against a good defense, their physicality, our guys, had to adjust. And so it took a little time, but as I mentioned, the second half we came out, played much better offensively. We put together some really good drives, and defense kept playing hard. And like I said, our kids competed their butt off and made some plays, made some really big plays, and had an opportunity to win the game.
Most definitely. Connor Matthews got the majority snaps. Is he going to be sharing some time this week?
Well, it's going to happen. We've got, 3 really good running backs that we've talked about with Connor and Andre Spence and Josh Wilson. And every game's going to be its own game. Next week, all 3 of them may get a lot of carries. But the deal is Andre plays. He starts at Mike linebacker, and Josh Wilson starts at Sam. Sam linebacker. So, we got to make sure that they're fresh defensively, and they're going to play. We played one game, and it worked out that Connor got a lot of the carries. He is our starter, and he's hopefully going to get the majority of the carries. But we also got Andre that's going to come in, and he may get a bunch of carries this week, and Josh as well.
We got a couple of Raiders that have been injured, still recovering. You got Anthony Gassaway, another junior running back, looking for big things once he comes back healthy, and Terrence Marshall. Very impressed with Tyrell last week, and Darius stepping up in his very first varsity game. But once you get those 2 individuals back, how are they coming along in their recovery process?
Well, Terrence, possibly, will be cleared in the next couple of weeks. He's been practicing. No contact, and is just really looking good. And even with his injury, he has worked really hard and done what he can do. Of course, he's been doing physical therapy with the Andrews Clinic, but also, practicing and doing drills and catching the ball, running routes. And now the last week or so, he's been cleared to where he's really full speed, just, hasn't been tackled yet. So, but he looks outstanding. Anthony's a little bit behind, but not because of any issue, just because of his injury. It's just going to take longer. He should be back, hopefully, or could be back mid-season. We
brought up Andrews, and I want you to talk a little bit about what they have been to the schools in the Panhandle of Florida, their presence at each of the games in each of the high schools. Is that not a bonus for our athletes here in the Panhandle?
Oh, no question at all. We're blessed to have the Andrews Clinic. We've got an athletic trainer at every practice and every game. A lot of times we have a doctor at our home games, every home game, and a lot of times on the road too. Dr. Anns is our team doctor. He is a great orthopedic surgeon and does a great job, with our kids. He's done a lot of work with a lot of our really good players, dealing with injury. But it's a blessing. Whenever I'm talking to college recruiters about our guys, if they've had an injury, I always make sure they know that, hey, yeah, our guy, had knee surgery or he had shoulder surgery. But look, we're going to the Andrews Clinic, where world-class athletes go for surgery. We're getting the same doctors, the same treatment, so we are blessed. And not just football, that they're available for all sports. And so not just obviously our school, but, for the entire Panhandle. It's great to have Andrews.
Even non-athletes like myself, I'm going in and Andrews is redoing my I have to have my knee replacement redone in December.
Oh,
They
wow.
wanted to do it in October. I said, nah, football season is not over with yet.
I can't, as fast as you are, I can't believe that.
I still have to get up and down the stairs. So I said, can we push it off to December?
Yeah.
So they said, okay. But Andrews is going to be doing my revision of my knee replacement as well.
You'll be in great hands.
And I've been through there for therapy, and you are right. They are the best. Let's go to your kicking game. You got a new kicking coach the last couple of years, and I think it's really starting to come to fruition with the way that your kickers have been performing.
Yep, Tyler Daniel, he's our starting kicker this year, and already had a really good game. Made all his kicks, made 2 field goals, and of course the tying field goal. At the end of regulation, a big kick. I think it was a 42-yarder. Yeah. And we knew, going into the spring and even last year that he had the ability, to kick really well. Just makes really good contact with the ball, kind of something you can't coach. But Tyler had a really good night, and that was one of the things. Made a big kick. Hunter Feaster is our holder. He did a great job with the hold. Our snappers, Vinny Villanova. And great snap. We had great protection. Everything, fell into place for that kick.
Holders are worth their weight in gold.
Oh, absolutely. But, Coach Gardner, Steve Gardner, has been helping with kickers for the last 2 or 3 years now. His son kicked for us, Taylor Gardner. And so he's been involved, and Steve's done a great job working with those guys. I work with them, too, in practice and specialty, so they get coached throughout practice. They get coached during specialty. And, we've got Tyler. We've got Cade Fugit, a sophomore. I think that's got ability to be a good kicker. And then on the JV, we've got Brock Winton that is really working hard. So, the kicking game's huge, and we work it every day.
Well, I think one thing that was important in that game last Friday night is Tyler was able to get out early in the first half and get a kick in. So going out for that second kick, it was not his first varsity kick. He was out there prepared. And I love how everybody says, well, you can ice the kicker by calling time. That's not icing the kicker. Those kickers do that in practice routinely over and over again. I thought it actually helped because the momentum of where the game was going, I thought if he would have rushed out there, he might have rushed his kick.
Sure.
But he had a chance. Catholic called timeout. He settled down. And I tell you, it was probably good from 45, 46 yards if we were counting on it.
Yeah. When there was the timeout, we got him over there and huddled up. The guys were fired up. They weren't tight. You could tell that they felt good about the situation, everybody. And that's what we told them. Hey, we work this, every day. Go out there and do what we do. Don't try to do anything crazy, anything different. Just do what you do in practice. And we went out there and executed.
Most definitely. Well, We're coming up to the end of our segment here, but I appreciate you coming on again this week, Coach. And hopefully we count on you coming out, or one of your assistant coaches coming out every Wednesday night. And who knows, maybe in the future we might be able to sneak a few players in here.
We will. Definitely we'll get some other coaches involved, and we'll get some kids involved too.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's Coach Jay Walls, head coach of Navarre, as the Raiders will be on the road this Friday night taking on Pine Forest. Thanks, Coach.
All right, enjoyed it.
We're going to head out for commercial break, and we'll be back after this break.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Thinking about selling your property? Call Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Realty in Navarre now. The consultation is free, and Ursula uses the best tools the industry has to offer. Her years as a top producer, relocation specialist, and Florida military market specialist will help you get the desired result. If you are buying, Ursula's experience will help you make an informed decision to find the right home for you And if you mention this advertisement, Ursula will donate $100 to the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club when the deal closes. To find out if you qualify for any of the military rewards, call or text 850-642-5711 or email ursula.householder@cbrealty.com or go to urhouseholderhomes.com. That's urhouseholderhomes.com. Go Raiders!
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raiders Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track, whether it's seeing to it that they're properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can watch and hear all exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
When this old world starts getting me down and people are just too much for me to face, I climb way up to the top of the stairs and all my cares just drift right into space. On the roof is peaceful as can be, and there
Well, we're going to take a second. Look over our shoulders. You can see what's up on the wall there. That's number 10, a number that will never be worn at Navarre again. Ian Lockwood, a young man that lost his battle to a brain tumor back in 2011, January 28th. Brought a whole community together, and we do things just to keep his memory alive and what he meant to so many people, the battle that he went through. And just a little thing that we had done is we had his number 10 jersey encased, and it will be on the wall behind us in all of our broadcasts that we do here at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yes, and my food is here, but it'll wait.
Well, if you want to take a break, and we'll get Paul in here unless Paul's it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead,
Oh, on-air engineering.
You got to love it. I mean, that's the nice thing about being in a facility like this is we can only go so far as our well, he doesn't need to put on any weight. You don't. Well, I'm not going to go there, but anyways, I'll shift to the other side and let Paul sneak in here. Actually, we'll let Paul sneak in on the other side. But another thing, like I said, we like to keep Ian's memory alive, and just as a small token is his number 10 jersey will be on the wall here at Buffalo Wild Wings. And the person that mostly responsible for making that happen, Paul Villanova. Well, you got to put your headsets on, Paul. You do have a loud voice, but you do need headsets.
So one of the comments that Coach just told me about that is that not only is Ian's jersey up there, but right next to it is Tim Tebow's. Denise, Ian's mom, had texted Coach a couple minutes ago and said, when Ian got sick, he spent a lot of time at the hospitals in Gainesville and got to know Urban Meyer and a lot of the players on the University of Florida, and Tebow being one of them. So she was really touched that both those jerseys, by coincidence, are next to each other. Well,
I remember the day of his memorial service, and it was overcast, a little bit of rain on that day, and Ahmad Black was one of the Florida Gator defensive backs was there, as well as Bob Tebow. Tim's dad was there along with Urban Meyer, and it was a sad day, but it was also a great day to remember one Ian Lockwood. And like I said, they'll be behind our shoulders on every broadcast here at Buffalo Wild Wings. Guess what I finally got, Paul?
What'd you got? Oh, you got the
defensive stats. I've been waiting for these defensive stats.
So have I.
And I'm going to be posting these later on my Facebook page and on IrishMillSports.com. But your leading tackler last week with 13 tackles. Andre Spence, 9 solo, 4 assists. Vinny Villanova with 10.
All right.
4 solos, 6 assists. Marquez White played a nice game as well. He had 8 solo tackles. He second in leads in solo tackles. Joshua Wilson had another big night, as he always does. Vinny had 2 tackles for loss as well. He led the team as Raiders had 4. Only 1 sack, and that went to Joshua Wilson. What a game Josh had at the beginning of that game.
He did, and the funny thing about Vinny is, as you know, I do the PA, and I think he had the first 3 tackles of the game, and my first thought was people are going to think that I'm just calling him for but people don't realize that I can't see, and so I have a spotter that watches the game through the binoculars. After the 3rd tackle, I said, Dean, is he really making those tackles? And he said he is. So it was a proud moment, but the defense played pretty well, and hopefully they do it again this week.
For a defense that we've had a lot of changes, a lot of adjustments due to seniors departing and other players leaving for one reason or another. So that was their big first test, and they got some areas that they need to work on, but I'm sure that they will get those under. I'm sure the coaches are working them rather hard.
They are, and those 2 running backs, they had a Catholic with Nigel, C.J. Nettles, and Nigel Nelson. I mean, they're probably the 2 of the best they're going to face the whole year. They got another one this week with.
Oh my gosh,
Mikael Brock.
This kid scares me.
Yeah, but they learned from the they had a lot of hits in the backfield where those guys bounced outside and a couple of them scored, and so I know that's a point of emphasis this week at practice, and so it'll be another tough test, but hopefully they're up to the task.
But we got the big plays from Joshua Wilson there in the first quarter, a strip, fumble recovery, and a fumble return of about 20 yards, and then Connor Black steps up and gets Raiders' first touchdown of the season.
It's awesome because, Connor's kind of under the radar a little bit. He was injured a little bit last year and doesn't get a lot of the recognition that he rightfully deserves. And to see him pick up that ball, and he is fast. He took off, and it wasn't even close. So that was a big play, and it gave us the momentum and the lead. And I didn't realize until after the game that was his first high school touchdown. Was that play?
Well, playing defense, you don't get a lot of opportunities.
True.
But the Raiders almost had 2 there in the very first quarter. But we got Pine Forest coming up, a team that everybody knows. Everybody's read the book on Pine Forest and the athletes that they've had come and go out of that. They got one of the best offensive tackles in the country, Jonathan Daniels, is committed to play at Florida State.
Wow.
And they like to run behind him. And they have 2 or 3 different quarterbacks that they can throw at you as well. Very deep in talent. But I will be anxious to see Terrence get back on the field, but I was really impressed with how Tyrell and Darius stepped up last week.
They have. I mean, crossover athlete with Darius coming from the basketball program, and Tyrell, and crossover from defense to offense, and they did a really good job. And Nate Hansen as well. On that kickoff return, he wanted to cut left, and the kicker got in his way, and he was one cut from going.
Both kickers made a tackle last week, saved touchdowns.
Tyler Daniels,
you don't see that. You don't see that too often throughout the season. And we got to see it twice in the very first game of the season.
Yes, and I saw Tyler a couple days ago, and hey Tyler, great kick at 42-yard kick, and he's like, Mr. Paul, did you see my tackle, shoestring tackle, and it was pretty.
Well, Tyler used to play defense, so he's used to tackling. I remember Brady's very first tackle at Miles College. They were playing at Soldier Field his junior year, and the guy had a breakaway, and there was a blocker and the guy, the returner, coming at him. He just got in the way, and unfortunately, when he went to the ground, his head hit the turf, and he suffered his first concussion. But he played the rest of the game, and yeah, but kickers don't get too many opportunities to make a tackle.
And they love it when they do, and that was the first thing Tyler wanted to tell me, so it was pretty cool.
But let's see what we got coming up here. We got some big college football games coming up this week, starting tomorrow night.
Yep.
Who's your college team? I know you're more of a pro guy.
I am. I grew up in New England, so I'm more of a Patriots fan. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but I am. And
they cut a local Panhandle guy this morning. Their punter.
Okay.
Out of Milton, Corliss Waitman.
Okay.
Was one of the casualties of the Patriots.
Well, they had, I forget his first name, but Bailey's been the punter for the last couple of years, and he got himself in the doghouse of Belichick. So there was a chance that the kid from Milton was going to stick, but they went with Bailey.
And Bailey Zappi, that surprised me a little bit that they let him go.
It did, and I think the message it's sending is that they're trying to give Mac Jones 100% confidence that last year was a weird year. They had a defensive coordinator who became the offensive coordinator, and they had so it was kind of a strange situation. So now they've got Bill O'Brien back, who was the head coach at the
Heck
Texans.
of a coach.
He's a great offensive mind. So I think they're sending a message to Mac Jones that this is your team and you've got no competition. I don't even know who their backup is right now, to tell you the truth. So.
I couldn't tell you either. I'm a Bears fan, so the Bears kind of surprised a lot of people. Is they brought in P.J. Walker from Carolina for him to be the number 2. Well, P.J.'s no longer on the roster.
Really?
They had an undrafted free agent, a rookie, that they brought in out of Shepherd's University in Shepherdsville, West Virginia, by the name of it's Tyson Bagent.
Okay.
He's the all-time touchdown passer, passing touchdowns in all of college football with 159.
Wow.
For his career.
Wow.
So I seen him play in a couple of the preseason. I like him. So
well, the thing about being a backup in the NFL, you're literally one play away. Especially Justin Fields is an athletic quarterback, and you're subject to getting hit. So you're one snap away from being on that field. So, but to answer your question about college team, I'm a big SEC fan. But I do like the ACC. Florida State's right down the road, so I know Bob's obviously Seminole Bob. So I just like football. So
huge game on Sunday night, Florida State and LSU. I mean, that should be one heck of a matchup on Sunday night.
With the former
normally they would reserve those nights for NFL, but we get college on Sunday night because pros are off this week. And
a former Raider, Jordan Jefferson, playing for LSU on the defensive line. So,
if you haven't seen Jordan lately, he is of about 315 pounds, nose tackle, and he takes up a lot of space in the middle of that line.
Yep.
But I'm looking forward to seeing Jordan play in that game, and we got quite a few Panhandle players playing for Florida State as well. So that's always big to watch that game. Close one last year, came down to the last second. Mm-hmm. Florida State pulled it out on the road. Hopefully we'll have another one just like that.
Florida State was much improved last year, and I think we're looking for much more of the same. So it should be a great game. And I didn't realize it was Sunday night, so that should be great.
I think it's a 6 or 6:30 kickoff from Orlando. And luckily, the storm will be all the way through there and gone by the time that game kicks off. So sitting with me this segment is Paul Villanova, the PA announcer for all the home games. And we appreciate you coming in. Once again, Paul. Paul Villanova.
Dad of Vinny, right?
So we're going to go take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back for our last couple of segments here on the Buffalo Wild Wings show from Buffalo Wild Wings in Navarre.
Thank you.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Thinking about selling your property? Call Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Realty in Navarre now. The consultation is free, and Ursula uses the best tools the industry has to offer. Her years as a top producer, relocation specialist, and Florida military market specialist will help you get the desired result. If you are buying, Ursula's experience will help you make an informed decision to find the right home for you. And if you mention this advertisement, Ursula will donate $100 to the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club when the deal closes. To find out if you qualify for any of the military rewards, call or text 850-642-5711 or email ursula.householder@cbrealty.com or go to urhouseholderhomes.com. That's urhouseholderhomes.com. Go Raiders!
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raiders Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track, whether it's seeing to it that they're properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can watch and hear all exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like, yeah. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like, yeah. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like, E-double-L. I said so, I keep big bills up in.
I guess it would help if I turn our mics on there, Bob.
What was that? I couldn't hear you.
What a cod. You're a cod, man.
Smart apple.
You're a cod. I want to welcome our latest sponsor this year, 2023, along with Buffalo Wild Wings. Our latest one, All Dry Services, Gulf Coast region, managed by Ronnie Good. With nearly a decade of experience with their expert restoration specialists, if you're in the Gulf Coast region, including areas in Florida, Alabama, and Mississippi, you can rely on us for help with water damage or mold growth. Our emergency water damage and mold repair services are available 24/7, 365. So you don't have to worry about water damage or mold. So visit their website at www.myalldry.com/Gulf Coast Region. And welcome them as our new sponsor here in 2023.
Thanks to having. Hopefully
they won't be needed. They won't be very busy.
We want to patronize our sponsors, but, it'd be like being sponsored by an endonologist,
Okay.
Get a root canal.
Yeah. Something that doesn't happen very often, but us living here on the Gulf Coast as we are in hurricane season, and our best wishes and prayers go out to those affected by the storm that went through. Idalia.
Yeah.
I pronounced that right.
Idalia.
I always think of the onion, Vidalia.
Vidalia.
So I went with Idalia.
And now
it should be moving out into the Atlantic Ocean.
Well, it's Georgia and South Carolina are feeling the effects. It's already back up to a 1.
Wow. A lot of storm surge in that one. That's where a lot of the damage, especially over in the Cedar Key area of Florida. It's right in the pit of the state of Florida. And right where you take the turn to go down south.
Yeah.
That's where pretty much it came through the Wakulla. That area down through there.
Cedar Key. Talked to some people from Cedar Key. Talked to the sheriff of Levy County. And they felt that they may have dodged a bullet. But that's the bad thing. Not the bad thing. I'm glad a lot of people are okay, but the next time a 3 or a 4 come in, the last time we were okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah, you get a little apprehensive.
Well, it wasn't a big, wide hurricane like Ivan was. Those hurricanes, they had Ivan and
they've really messed us up.
Irma.
Yeah. But
Ian.
Speaking of messed up, that was your picks last week, Bob.
Oh, man, I smelled in high school. I smelled up. I didn't do too bad in college.
We'll get to college here in just a second. So I win week 1. So there's one victory for Irish Bill. I go 16-8. It's always tough to pick that opening week because you really don't know what teams
Who's
have.
Playing? Well, I mean, look at Navarre.
Yeah.
Injuries type thing. You don't know who's going to start.
And Joe came in second, 15-9, the pick wizard. And then Bob brought up the backside, 13-11. Hopefully, you can think about we go week to week, so you could slide that one out the back door and make up for it this week.
Well, I mean, Joe did not start off very well last year,
but once he got started, he got started.
Yeah.
Okay, here's our games, and we're gonna. I did something that I normally don't do, and don't be offended by my first pick, please. Do not.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
I pulled a pick wizard.
Yeah, nose. Pick your nose.
But actually, no. I'm gonna change that. I cannot pick against my Navarre Raiders.
You can't.
So you and I are taking Navarre.
We are.
And Joe is taking Pine Forest. So I cannot pick against my Raiders. They're my Raiders.
They're the Raiders.
That's right. So let's move on to pick 2. Milton, it's the road, and they're going to Niceville. Niceville demolished North Miami Beach last week at home, 29-0, and they didn't even. Most of that was set up by their defense.
Yeah, and scored a lot of it in the first half too. So yeah, I picked Niceville in this easy.
Next, we're going to head over to Pace. What a performance by Pace last week against Choctaw, 41-17. But they're hosting a very talented Lincoln Trojan team.
I'm a believer. I'm a believer.
Nick Simmons, you're a believer.
Yeah, I am.
What a game
believer.
Nick Simmons had last week. 366 combined yards, passing and rushing, 5 touchdowns. I'm going with Lincoln. You and Joe are going with Pace. Catholic out of Escambia. This game should be one of the best in the area tomorrow night.
Yep.
All 3 of us took the Gators at home.
Absolutely.
Pensacola at Tate. Tate much improved. They ran into a buzzsaw last week known as the Pine Forest Eagles.
They played them pretty well in the first half.
But I got Tate over Pensacola. Pensacola just is trying to find themselves.
Last 10 years, I think.
And we got another good game tomorrow night. Booker T. Washington travels over to West Florida. And all three of us are going with the Jaguars at home.
Jaguars.
Next, we got Fairhope heading to Choctaw. You took Choctaw. Joe and I are taking Fairhope on the road.
Yeah, well, the real Choctaw Indians, please stand up.
Next, we have Fort Walton Beach going to South Walton. Last year, South Walton went into Steve Riggs Stadium and knocked them off. And this year, Joe and I are sticking with the Seahawks of South Walton. But actually, no, you're sticking with South Walton.
I am.
Against your alma mater.
Against my alma mater.
And Joe is going with the upset.
Never
for Walton Beach in the upset after a big game last week by Eddie Love Jr.
Yep.
217 total yards, and he thinks they'll get it done. So Joe is taking the Vikings of Fort Walton Beach this week. Next, we head over to Panama City. Bay and Mosley, both fresh off big wins last week. Bay over Arnold and Mosley over Rutherford, and all three of us are going with the home team, the Dolphins. Next, the longest road game, not by an area team, but Balboa, California, out of San Francisco. They're traveling to Orlando to face off with the Wakulla War Eagles.
We think.
A game that could still be affected by the storm.
Right.
Travel plans for Balboa. But all three of us going with the Florida team, Wakulla.
Yep, Balboa are the Buccaneers.
We got Fletcher. I believe they're out of the Orlando area.
Jacksonville.
Joe is taking Fletcher. You and I are going with Childs, the home team.
Did I really? Okay.
Yeah, you did pick.
I did. I'll change. Yeah.
Next, we're going to head over to Gadsden County. Gadsden County actually played Lowndes pretty tough last week, only lost 30-17. A place where you do not want to go and play a high school football game in Valdosta. But they'll be hosting Rickards. Rickards, fresh off a come-from-behind win on the road at Crestview last Thursday night. All three of us are going with Rickards, the Raiders, on the road. Next, we have Madison County at Godby. Madison County got shut out last week. I can't ever remember the Cowboys getting shut out, especially at home. But they're going to Godby. You and Joe are taking Madison County. I am going with the Cougars.
Did I choose Madison County? I thought I chose Godby.
Take a look at your.
What I texted you and what I wrote down. All right, I'll go with Madison County.
I left my phone somewhere, so I don't need it anyways. I'll take a look at that. Adjustments may be made legally.
Coach Walls talked to some coaches in the Tallahassee area. Appears all the games are on as scheduled tomorrow.
Next, we have Leon going to Gainesville. Gainesville, always the Purple Hurricanes. Do not just call them the Hurricanes because you do not utter that word in Tallahassee. Not in Tallahassee, but in Gainesville.
Well, not in Tallahassee either, especially the people who don't have power in Tallahassee.
Good point.
Yeah.
So you guys are going with Leon.
Right.
I'm going with the home team, Gainesville. Ponte Vedra playing Florida High. Florida High's first game, as our last week's game was moved to the end of September. All three of us going with the Seminoles of Florida High. Destin, fresh off a convincing win over Freeport last week. And I got Destin going on the road and knocking off Baker. Bob, you are taking the home team, the Baker Gators. And Joe is going with the Sharks of Destin.
Yeah, I know Baker is down. I just have a feeling about this game.
Okay, now we got Vernon, the Yellow Jackets, going on the road to Franklin County, where is East Point, Florida, not too far from where the hurricane went through.
So it may or may not be played.
Actually, it's going to be played at Vernon.
I see.
They're going to move. I'm pretty sure they're going to move it over to Vernon. So that game's going to be played at Vernon. They're in Washington County. All three of us going with the Yellow Jackets against Franklin County.
Well, the problem isn't necessarily the field or even the electricity, because certainly they could play a day game. Heck with the scoreboard, right? Yeah. But it's getting all the players who have evacuated back.
That's right. Next, we have Northview, who lost to at home last week against the one Alabama team. Now they're facing another. This one is Escambia County, and I got Northview on the road, as do you. And Joe is going with the home team, Escambia County.
I think it's Escambia Academy.
Is it
private
Academy?
School. They're the Cougars.
Okay. Next, we're going to head to Rocky Bayou over here in Niceville. Joshua Christian on the road at Rocky Bayou. All three of us going with the home team after the Knights had a big performance last week in the opening week.
Joshua Christian's out of Jacksonville.
So they might already be over here.
Could be.
Then we're going to go to Freeport once again. This time Jay is going to be their opponent. You and I are going with Jay on the road. Joe is going with the home team, Freeport.
Gotcha.
And now we head over to Sneeds, where they'll be hosting Arnold. Arnold is really struggling. 49-0 loss last week to Bay, and now they get Mr. Jason Patterson.
You know what their nickname is, don't you?
The Pirates.
Who?
Sneeds or the Pirates?
How about Arnold?
The Marlins.
Marlins, very good.
We're all going with Sneeds in that one. I think single-handedly Jason Patterson will win that game. He did last week. He scored 36 points. Cottondale only scored 34 last week. Now we're going to go over to Bozeman, staying in Panama City. Southwest Georgia from where?
Damascus.
Damascus. We had this geography lesson last night on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. It's north of Colquitt, Georgia.
Yes, near Bainbridge.
Yep.
Southwest Georgia already 0-2 on the season. They are the Warriors.
The Warriors. They're going on to face the Bozeman Bucks, I believe. And all three of us going with the home team in that one. North Bay Haven, also the Buccaneers.
Yep.
They're going to Holmes County. You and Joe are taking Holmes County. I am going with North Bay Haven on the road.
All right.
Then we're going to head over to Bluntstown. Bluntstown loses to Walton last week. This week they'll be hosting Rutherford. I look for the Tigers to get into the win column this week.
Yep, absolutely.
Chipley at Geneva, Alabama. All three of us going with the Tigers on the road.
I think, Alabama's always, they've already played a game. They're 0-1 on the year. So, yeah, Chipley.
And our last game, I know, actually we're going to throw, I can't throw it in because Joe's not online tonight. But you know who I missed this week? Gulf Breeze at Crestview. How could I miss that game?
Ooh. Well,
let's go ahead and pick it. Then I'll get Joe's pick as well. But Liberty County at Mariana. Mariana took out Holmes County last week, 28-14. All three of us are going with Mariana at home. Then we're going to add in the Gulf Breeze at Crestview tomorrow night. I believe Friday night. It's going to be played at Crestview, I believe.
Jack Foster Stadium.
I am going to go with Gulf Breeze.
I am too.
And I'm sure we'll get Joe's take on that as well. So there's our picks for high school. Let's move over to college, where I also won, but you tied me last week. We both went 6-1. Joe went 5-2. Let's move on to our picks real quickly here, as we got 26 picks this week. The first games are tomorrow night, Nebraska at Minnesota, first Big Ten game. I did not get your picks, so I am going to get your picks right now if I could borrow your pen.
Minnesota is favored by 7.5. Line started at 8. I'm going with Minnesota.
All three of us going with the Gophers. The Gophers
keep
then.
Rolling forward.
Florida goes to Utah. Utah is going to be without their starting quarterback, Cameron Rising, but I still think they will have enough to beat Florida tomorrow night.
Favored by 7.5, going with the Utes. Utes.
All three of us going with Utah. Louisville going to Atlanta to face off with Georgia Tech.
We think.
Joe and I going with Louisville.
Going with Louisville. They're favored by 8.
Saturday will be Wisconsin hosting Buffalo. My brother-in-law Brian and his son will be in attendance at that game at Camp Randall.
Cool.
And the first game for Coach Fickle.
2:30 kick. Wisconsin favored by 27.5, going with Wisconsin.
Next, we're going to head up to the Big House. Number 2, Michigan hosting the East Carolina Pirates. And I think the margin is even bigger in this one, is it not?
11 a.m. kick. Sports Line had it at 36.
So we're all going with Michigan there. Utah State, a tough team out of the Mountain West at times, heading to Iowa to take on the Hawkeyes. And Michigan transfer Cade McNamara gets the nod at QB for Iowa.
One of the coolest traditions in college football. They all turn and wave to the Children's Hospital. They're located behind the stadium. You know, at the beginning of the week, Iowa started out as a 20-point favorite. I'm not sure they could score 20 points. But the line
last year's offense couldn't score 20 points.
Right now the line's 25. So
wow.
I don't think Iowa will cover, but I'm choosing Iowa at 11 a.m. kick.
We're all going with Iowa. Colorado at number 17, TCU. TCU both come off of disappointing finishes in 2022. TCU, the shellacking at the hands of Georgia, 65-7, and Colorado just showing up every week.
They have a new coach at primetime.
Primetime. Not enough.
Well, you and I don't think so. TCU's favored by 21.5. I think Colorado will cover. 11 a.m. kick. I think Joe went with.
He went with the upset. His upset pick of the week is Colorado. Next, we're going to head to Rocky Top. Number 12, Tennessee hosting Virginia. The Cavaliers heading south, but Knoxville is only so far south. Their program has been heading south for the last couple of years. Tennessee big in this one.
They're favored by 28. It's 11 a.m. kickoff. Tennessee.
Mercer, the Bears heading over to Oxford to take on Ole Miss. Hotty toddy, gosh almighty.
Hotty toddy, and your boy will be there, I do believe.
Yeah, local punter Reese Griffith from Pace High will get his second start. They played last week in Montgomery. Brady went up and watched him play.
Who's he play for?
He plays for the Mercer Bears.
Okay. He
is a true freshman. He is the starting kicker and kickoff guy for the Bears.
Ole Miss favored by 39.5 and a 1 p.m. kick. I'm going to go with Ole Miss.
Next, we have Oregon hosting Portland State. Who is a famous alum of Portland State? You know who that is,
Neil Lomax.
Neil Lomax.
St. Louis Cardinals. Los Angeles Cardinals.
Not to be confused with the thing that you put on your tires. Or the steering wheel where people won't take your cars.
That's true.
So
Portland State are the Vikings. Oregon favored at this 2 p.m. kick.
It's an
by
FCS goal. I'm surprised that they even give a line in that one because normally they don't when FCS teams play FBS. So next we're going to head over to Bloomington, Indiana, as they host number 3 Ohio State.
Ohio State.
O-I dot in the I.
Favored by 30 over Indiana. 2:30 kick.
A couple of years, Tom Allen tried to change things at Indiana. He had one really good year, but I think his expectations have kind of
reverted,
and I think he's fighting for his job this year in 2023. We're all going with Ohio State big on the road.
Buckeye Mike, we want to wish him a speedy recovery.
Most definitely. Hopefully we can get him back up with one of our games. We missed our announcement for tonight, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, announce it now, Bill.
Well, we will have a new addition to our broadcast team starting Friday night. A young man that works he doesn't work. He is a student at Navarre High. He's in the AV IT program at Navarre High. He is a freshman. And we're going to welcome Raider Riley to the broadcast team. He is going to be our video camera guy, and we're going to welcome him. And he'll be joining us this Friday night and each and every broadcast for the remainder of the season. So welcome to the team, Riley.
He's going to join us. I think his sister's in the band, Navarre
She
Marching
is.
Band. So we'll see him at the Pine Forest game.
Yeah, we'll see which little hole in the wall they put us in, but we make it do wherever we go.
As long as we're dry, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Next, we're going to head over to South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame fresh off their 42-3 win over Navy in Ireland. It's only appropriate that Notre Dame starts the season off in Ireland. And they're going to be hosting Eddie George's Tennessee State team. The first time that Notre Dame has ever played an FCS school.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising. I did not know that fact. There's no line on the game. It's a 2:30 kick in South Bend.
We're all going with Notre Dame in that one. UMass, fresh off an upset. Well, can you call it an upset victory over New Mexico State?
Jeez.
You really can't. So UMass on the road, big underdogs at Auburn. Joe and I are going with the Tigers and War Eagle.
War Eagle. Auburn favored by 38 in the game.
Rice at number 11, Texas. I think we're all in agreement that Texas will roll there.
Favored by 35 at a 2:30 kick.
Boise State at number 10, Washington. After the season of one Michael Penix, he's in the running for the Heisman contention this year. And but they're facing off with a very, very tough Boise State team.
The Huskies are favored by 14.5. This is also a 2:30 kick. I'm going with the Huskies.
So that's a 2:30 kick Western time. So that's actually a
5:30 Eastern.
That's 2:30
carry the
our
one.
time. 2 hours back. So it's going to be about a noon, 12:30 kickoff in Washington. So,
unless it's 2:30 that local time.
We'll follow it either way. Next, we're going to go USC fresh off a semi-decent win over San Jose State.
Do you know the way to San Jose? They play Nevada.
I don't know, but you're going to tell me.
The Trojans favored by 38. 5:30 p.m. kick.
Southeast Missouri State at number 16, Kansas State.
Kansas State favored by 29.5.
The Big 12 champions.
Yes, the 6 p.m. kick. Southeast Missouri State are the Red Hawks.
Red Hawks.
Red Hawks.
I did not know that.
Not the Black Hawks. The Red Hawks.
New Mexico heading to number 23, Texas A&M. All three of us going with the Aggies at home.
6 p.m. kick. Aggies favored by 38.
Next is one of the better games of the weekend. Number 21, North Carolina at South Carolina. South Kakalaka, as I like to call it. Maybe. Joe going with North Carolina. I am going with the home team in this one.
6:30 kick. I'm going with North Carolina. Favored by 1.5.
Next, we have the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee State heading to Tuscaloosa to take on number 4, Alabama. Alabama
favored by 39.5. This is a 6:30 p.m. kick.
So we get to see the flashing lights every time
yes,
they scored.
Lord. And Middle Tennessee State coached by Rick Stockstill.
And also the alma mater of Navarre Raider, Gatlin Casey.
That's right. Gatlin transferred there. Rick Stockstill, former Florida State quarterback. I had the pleasure of having some classes with him. Yes, he's about my age, except he's better looking. Yeah, Bama all the way.
No comment. Next, I like a rivalry rekindled.
Yeah, I like that.
West Virginia at number 7, Penn State.
I don't remember what they used to. They had a nickname for this.
Joe and I are going with Penn State in that one.
I am going with Penn State, favored by 20.5 and a 6:30 kick. I thought it used to be called a backyard brawl, but maybe not.
Next, we have Tulane, number 24, fresh off their bowl victory over USC. They'll be facing the Jaguars of South Alabama out of Mobile, Alabama.
Tulane favored by 6.5, a 7 p.m. kick. This is a tough game for Tulane. South Alabama ain't no slouch. I'm picking Tulane. I don't think they'll cover 6.5.
Coach McDonald took over at the USA program, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's who took it over. He's doing a great job. Couple of Crestview young men playing in that program.
Yep.
Coastal Carolina traveling out west to UCLA. I'm going with the Bruins, as is Joe.
14.5 point favorites, UCLA. I'm going with the Bruins as well.
Next, we number 18, Oregon State with DJ Uiagalelei at quarterback, transfer from Clemson, and they go to San Jose State, the home of the Spartans.
2:30 kick at Do You Know the Way to San Jose? Oregon State, the Beavers, favored by 17.
And last but not least, number 5, LSU. The home team in this game is Florida State, but it will be played in Orlando. This will be Sunday night. I believe a 6:30 kickoff on Sunday night. No NFL games this week, so they have everybody's attention.
The kickoff classic. You know, everybody. LSU's favored by 2.5. Everybody, CBS, ESPN, ABC, NBC, FBI, CIA, NAACP, name they all had LSU winning. It's going to be a tough contest. Last year, it was, a missed field goal. A missed extra point hit the crossbar. LSU was going to tie the game, send it to overtime, and then you had the sound that Brady hates called the doink,
doink,
doink. And I'm going with my Seminoles. My daughter, Alyssa, who is a Seminole, was planning to be there.
All three of us took Florida State.
I saw that. Thank you, Bill.
There's your college picks.
Oh, wait a minute, Bill.
Wait a second. Coach, I talked to you last night over at Culver's. You love Culver's, don't you?
I do. I get that vanilla
custard,
and I pour a blueberry Red Bull over it, and you guys are absolutely nuts for taking those Native Americans. Our LSU fans travel pretty well. And, I got a hot date with Minnie Mouse that afternoon. But anyway, I just
That sounds a little eerie, Coach.
Hey, don't try it. Don't knock it till you try it, brother. All I got to say is happy September.
Yeah, September just knocking. It's knocking on the front door here.
Yeah.
You gonna let it in?
No.
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 We're just gonna skip September and go right to October.
I think LSU's gonna beat those Noles. And wait a minute, my wings are ready. So I'm just gonna say one thing or maybe two things. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Thanks, Coach. It's always great seeing you. So we got a bunch of high school games and college games, a plethora of games coming up this weekend as the college football season begins week 1 after we had just a little tease last weekend of week 0. 7 games being played last week. So we got a lot of football coming up, and we got plenty of shows coming up in the next few weeks. Tuesday nights, we're at Culver's, 8 o'clock for Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. And you can find us here on Wednesday night. So, Bill, where are you at? Well, we're at Buffalo Wild Wings for the Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show with Coach Jay Walls.
Absolutely. And if you can't make it to Pensacola, Lon Wise Stadium, 7 p.m. kick. I think we go on the air at 6:30. You can watch us from the luxury of your couch on your big screen TV. As I see two of our Catholic priests walking out of Buffalo Wild Wings. How about that? Father John and
They
Father
got to
Alvaro.
eat, too.
They got to eat, too. They're two great guys, Father Alvaro and Father John.
Big screen here at Buffalo Wild Wings.
You can watch it here at Buffalo Wild Wings. If you don't want the kids to be around alcohol.
They can watch it at home, can't they?
And didn't
we got one other place, too.
Didn't Honey say?
You can also watch it on the screens at Culver's of Navarre. So the options are there. Which option you choose will be your own.
Yeah. I mean, we'd love to have you take the trip down.
So stay home and watch it on the big screen, your smart TV. Come to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch it on their big screen and eat some wings. Head to Culver's for a butter burger, some cheese curds, and some custard, and watch it at Culver's of Navarre. Or you can go to the game. 4 options.
Or you could go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
We said that already.
Watch the game. Have your entree.
I see where you're going with this.
And then go to Culver's and get your dessert.
And then Saturday morning, we head to the YMCA for a good workout.
Yeah, really.
But, well, for Seminole Bob, this has been Irish Bill. We've had Coach Walls and public address announcer Paul Villanova.
We got one thing to say, Paul. What do you got to say, Paul? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Now we got to turn that one more time, Paul. One more time. We were turned down a little bit there.
Touchdown!
There we go. Well, I've heard people around Navarre saying, "Well, I didn't go to the game, but there was some guy with a loud mouth over at the stadium calling." That's
they know
Paul.
the game's still going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They made a T-shirt. My wife bought it for me. One of the vendors at Raider Night had a T-shirt. She said, "I had this made because I heard this all last year. You saying it says touchdown Raiders." So I'll take pride in that.
Thanks,
With
Paul.
The rolling R's. Thank you, guys.
That's Paul Villanova, his son Vinny Villanova.
How many tackles? Well, we don't know. We don't have the stats yet.
He had 10 total tackles last Friday night. Andre Spence led the team with 13, and great performances by those two young men, and Joshua Wilson and Connor
That was
Black.
Benny's first start at middle linebacker.
First start wearing number. I know that confused you. You're used to a double-digit number for Vinny. He wore number 3. But it was only appropriate that he is the long snapper, number 3, on the game-tying kick, which was a 3-pointer.
Good snap, good hold. Hey, listen. Derek Schluter got a scholarship, did he not, to play college football?
He went and played at Huntington.
As a long snapper.
He did.
Or was he a walk-on first?
I believe he was a walk-on there. Because D3, not any athletic scholarships.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Nope. But
all this knowledge I'm getting, free knowledge, you're not even charging me.
I know.
Well,
we're going to head to Lon Wise Stadium on Friday night over in Pine Forest.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandson Jared will be attending his first football game.
You know, when Navarre wins, Jared might have to come to every game.
He could end up being our good luck charm.
Could be our mascot.
But until Friday night, for Seminole Bob, this has been Irish Bill with Coach Jay Walls and Paul Villanova on Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. And over our right shoulder is
our angel.
Our angel in Cole Lockwood's jersey, retired and framed here for eternity at Buffalo Wild Wings.
At Buffalo Wild Wings.
Until Friday night, may the wind ever be at your back, and it's been windy throughout the Panhandle. We'll see you Friday night from Lawn Wise Stadium,
Navarre.
Pine Forest.
And God bless.